laps. So stand by, your sofas, your beds, wherever you're watching here. It's lights out, and away we go, and it's a stall on the grid for Jules Bianchi, but it's Nico Rosberg away, and there's Kevin Magnussen trying to come down the inside, as Valtteri Bottas goes ahead, and that's Felipe Massa turning over, clipped by the McLaren of Kevin Magnussen, and it's once again a first lap incident for the second race in a row for Felipe Massa in the Williams, and no surprise, Martin, that the safety car is out.
Yeah, it'll take a bit of clearing away, so hopefully he's okay. Unusual to see F1 cars upside down. We don't see that too often. Hamilton had a reasonable start at the back of the field. He's up to 17th as they went through the timing zone. Massa moving around. The rollover hoop now is incredibly strong above their heads, so not surprising to see him jumping out, and he'll be angry. That's a very short Grand Prix for him in a car that had a great chance to be in a very strong position at the end of the day.
Well, it's the third time this season, Martin, on the first lap Felipe Massa has been taken out of the race, and for the third time this season, no fault of his own. It certainly looked like to me. Taken by Kevin Magnussen, who was having a little look on the inside going into turn one at first. There is the McLaren. I wonder if there's any damage on that car. Great to see Felipe walking away, and he looks out utterly furious and despondent, as well he might.
Yeah, he's giving it a bit of a shake around, see if it's working okay.
Left front tire is a little damaged.
Yeah, other than that, the bodywork seems to be fairly intact there. Jules Bianchi very slow to get away off the grid, as you can see.
Yes, Bianchi lucky not to get hit by the Caterham. Let's look down into the first corner. Well, Massa cut across, didn't realise that Magnussen was fully on the inside of the corner. A bit of an unfortunate incident. I don't think you can criticise Massa, but it clearly wasn't Magnussen's fault. Magnussen's actually had a great start. He's looking at the inside, so he's got the position. He's fair enough in there. He's got to go around the corner. And Massa, Felipe Massa, cut across the front of him, didn't leave him enough space. But did he see him in his peripheral vision? Did he know he's there? He's busy watching his teammate at the moment. Yeah. That's just an unfortunate incident. Felipe was preoccupied looking at his teammate, unaware that Magnussen's made an even better start. Bottas spun the wheels up. Yeah. And nothing Magnussen could have done, nothing he did wrong. And I think Felipe just didn't have him in his peripheral vision, didn't leave him enough space quite clearly.
And you can see the Red Bull coming around the outside, avoiding contact with Felipe Massa, but that's cost Daniel Ricciardo massively as well. He's down in 15th now.
Felipe, are you okay? Felipe, are you okay?
That was Andrew Murdoch, race engineer, asking if Felipe's okay, which thankfully he seems to be, and that was the reaction in the garage.
You can only, yeah, it's if you roll over in the gravel, you start getting very worried, where the rollover bar can start digging into the gravel, then it gets scary.
Safety car coming in at the end of this lap. Ted, quickly down to you.
Yeah, quick change for Kevin Magnussen onto the soft tyre, having started on the super soft. Didn't seem to be too much damage on his original front wing, but they changed it down at McLaren anyway. Big shame for the Dane. He was going well this weekend.
Well, here we go. We're racing once again, and it's Nico Rosberg then that will lead them past the grandstands and down the main straight once more, building up an advantage out in front with Valtteri Bottas behind him, then Vettel, then Alonso, Hulkenberg, Button, Kvyat, and Perez, Raikkonen, Sutil in the top 10, then Verne, Grosjean, Gutierrez and Ricciardo, and there's Lewis Hamilton going through turn one behind Max Chilton and starting his charge once more. The winners on that first lap, Jenson Button very much from 11th up to 6th, Hamilton down the inside at turn 2 on Max Chilton. There's one overtake done, and there's another 15 or so that he needs.
There's a lot of drivers that Hamilton's going to come up against who are not racing. They know he'll pass them. They may as well not lose any time at all while he's coming through the pack.
Little lock-up from Nico Hulkenberg. Jenson Button getting interested there. Sergio Perez making a move there on Danny Kvyat, and up into 7th place for the Force India. And it's Nico Rosberg out in front, but not streaking clear of Valtteri Bottas at this stage. Then comes the Red Bull of Sebastian Vettel, and further behind. There's his teammate Daniel Ricciardo, now right up behind Romain Grosjean with Esteban Gutierrez for company.
Next up for Hamilton, Pastor Maldonado in the Lotus. That should be quite easily dispatched because that car looks the worst handling car on the track, frankly.
Okay, Kevin, strategically, we've still got a good chance in this race. We are 10 seconds behind the queue.
It's a long, long way to go. Magnussen has got rid of his starting tyre, now on the soft compound tyre and looking to go long in what is now the second stint. As we finish lap 3, Rosberg has a lead of 1.7 seconds now from Valtteri Bottas. Sebastian Vettel less than a second behind Bottas in 3rd place. And we look there at the Force India with Jenson Button for company. That's Hülkenberg ahead of Button, Perez just behind. Under braking, Button closes up on the Force India in front of him. No chance to overtake at that particular moment. But Lewis Hamilton is going for it here on Pastor Maldonado. As you mentioned, Martin, should be quite easy to get past, and he's done that into turn 2. And now Hamilton up into 15th place.
Look at the old Fox Alonso there. He stayed out of trouble, didn't he? He avoided all the contretop, and there he is.
Button does the switchback, sorry Martin, on Nico Hülkenberg. Hülkenberg just closes the door on him, no room past at that particular moment. Is Button in a position maybe to try into turn 8? He'll have to go round the outside, long way round, looks at his mirrors, trusts that Hülkenberg knows that he's there, still sticks at it, still going for it. Jenson Button now gets the inside line, but Hülkenberg's just in front.
Yeah, feisty stuff from Jenson, but he knew when to get out of it. Hülkenberg was not going to let that one go too easily. Rosberg, thick end of a second a lap faster than the pack. No surprise there, I'm afraid. And here's another easy chance then for Lewis Hamilton.
Hamilton now up into 14th. Maldonado and Gutierrez dispatched on this lap. What happened to Grosjean? That happened to Grosjean. Daniel Ricciardo moving past him into 12th.
And Hamilton will come down the other side shortly, I'd imagine.
As we see our leader, Nico Rosberg, and there's his advantage and there's his teammate. And as you mentioned, Martin, Hamilton very quickly onto Grosjean, now up into 13th place through turn 1.
Now this is interesting for Lewis Hamilton because he's now sort of out of position along with Daniel Ricciardo as well in the fast Red Bull. That one won't be quite as easy. Hopefully they'll be going through there together for a while, but it's working okay. Hamilton probably could have done with a normal first lap where he could have picked off a few more, although a car or two upside down and pointing the wrong way helped him as well, let's not forget.
Further back we saw this Sauber and the Lotus of Pastor Maldonado getting quite close together. Now we're watching Jean-Eric Vergne, and behind him Adrian Sutil in the other Sauber. The stewards looking at that turn 1 incident between Kevin Magnussen and Felipe Massa that has taken Massa out of this race.
See, this is what people next year after a safety car restart, there will be a standing start in certain circumstances, and it's exactly that some people are worried about. I've done a great race, I've lost my advantage behind the safety car, and oh, hang on, I'm upside down in turn 1 now. But we do love the starts, don't we?
We certainly do. Lights out and away we go, maybe, for next year during the course of a race. Rosberg's just set the fastest lap of this race, and he's now 2.5 seconds clear out in front from Valtteri Bottas. Sebastian Vettel has DRS to try and close down on Bottas because he's within that 1 second in 3rd place. Fernando Alonso sticking to Sebastian Vettel like glue, 7/10 further back. We're watching Daniel Ricciardo at the moment in 12th place. Lewis Hamilton right behind him. Hamilton allowed just to gain a little bit on Ricciardo here because the Red Bull's got slower cars in front.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what Hamilton's lap time is now. He's got relatively a bit of clear air for a moment because his 22.1 is his teammate up front. 23 is his best so far. He's actually still going to get traffic on this lap, but Hamilton was just 13.5 seconds off the leader's pace. We'll keep an eye on that gap.
Okay, Daniel, let's get through these cars as soon as you can. Next car behind you is Hamilton. He has made his way through the traffic.
And making his way past his teammate Pastor Maldonado on Romain Grosjean at the hairpin. We're on board with Sebastian Vettel. We're down to 10.
Such a shame Ricciardo is where he is after getting caught up in the first lap melee. He had an argument on the radio, was discussing why Maldonado, he believes, and Gutierrez were overtaking under the yellow flag. That might be something the stewards look at later. And I'm worried that Kevin Magnussen's going to get a drive-through as well. We'll see what happens there.
Thank you, Ted. Marcus Ericsson, by the way, has had to come into the pits to serve his 10-second stop-go penalty for Parc Fermé infringements. Had to be done within the first 3 laps of this race, but not behind the safety car. And we're on board once more with Lewis Hamilton. Need to lift off through turn 1.
cannot be perceived in any way that that was Magnussen's fault into turn one. He's on the inside, he's got to stay on the racetrack, he's entitled to hold his position. He didn't move across the road. But anyway.
Does that logically, as we go on board once more with Daniel Ricciardo, and in front of him Adrian Sutil, and alongside him is Adrian Sutil, and now behind him is Adrian Sutil, and Lewis Hamilton wants to take Adrian Sutil at this hairpin as well, and Sutil, oh no, closes in, and they touch.
I was just going to say, the problem is I had this in Detroit once as well, got taken out of the race from third place. Sometimes the driver doesn't realise there's two of you coming through.
Is there any damage on that side pod of Lewis Hamilton's Mercedes as Ricciardo locks up massively going into turn 8?
I think he should be all right with that one.
No further action warranted by the stewards for the first turn incident, so not Magnussen's fault, not Massa's fault either. A racing incident, they say.
And absolutely right, in my view. But see, this is the problem. The drivers don't say, they don't really, they're seeing there is one car coming, and you're sneaking in behind, and which you're entitled to do. And suddenly, boom, wake up, I'm coming through.
Reactions from Adrian Sutil to move away from Hamilton, but Ricciardo up to 12th, Hamilton up to 13th, 1:21.8, fastest lap of the race from Rosberg. The gap between Rosberg and Hamilton now 17 seconds, and a lot of cars in between them as well. But don't forget, Rosberg on the super soft tyres at the moment, Hamilton on the soft compound.
Remember, you can hold the overtake to defend as well.
This is the point I was making. It's a different deal. You know, Lewis is trying to get through the midfield, but he's not up against a midfield runner.
Yeah. Valtteri Bottas starting to drop back a little bit, actually, on this last lap from Nico Rosberg after doing some quite good work beforehand. It's 4.4 seconds, the gap now between Rosberg and Bottas. 1:23.0 for his last lap compared to a 1:21.8.
So the high speed understeer is incredible.
Copy that, Nico. Copy that.
Lewis Hamilton also reporting understeer as well, as a lot of drivers have throughout this weekend, Martin.
Yeah, I think they set their cars up with understeer to protect the rear tyres as well on what looked like it was going to be a very hot track, and it's had a good raining overnight and this morning for the GP2 race, so the track's green as we call it. And so I think they're all finding that they've done a lot of work setting their cars up for the race, and the balance is completely off. The track will come to them over the next 58 laps.
Sergio Perez under a little bit of pressure from Danny Kvyat and the Toro Rosso behind him. The young Russian scored his first points as a 20-year-old last time out.
And you're free to use overtake. You have 25 kph with DRS.
It's quite a speed advantage, but is that enough with Ricciardo defending for Hamilton to try and get past? On board with Kvyat still, looking at Perez, maybe trying to switch back now and catch the Mexican unawares on the inside of the hairpin. They get very, very close. Rear right tyre and left-hand part of the front wing. Kvyat giving it a real go here. Now around the outside at turn 8. This is brilliant racing, but oh no! There's a touch, and Kvyat is sent spinning round just as it looked like he was going to get the move done. He spins round and he loses 2, 3, 4, 5 places before he can get back on the track again.
And he's only got himself to blame. There's no, you can go around the outside there, but you can't pinch somebody down onto the curb. They'll tap your rear wheel.
Have a look at it again then.
If you pinch a driver like that, I mean, it's not as if Perez was running too wide. He can't vanish. You've got to give him enough space. He'll almost certainly, from coming in at that acute angle, he will almost certainly understeer more than normal anyway.
Do you have any damage? Do you have any damage yourself?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
Sorry to young Kvyat. He's done some brilliant things this year, but that wasn't one of them.
Just needed to leave, as you say, Martin, that little bit more space, and he's come into the pits as a result of that spin. He's in the pits at the moment. Lewis Hamilton up into 11th place, Daniel Ricciardo up into 10th. And for how much longer? Because there's Jean-Eric Vergne being passed by not one but 2 cars, and now Hamilton might have a little go himself into this hairpin. Ricciardo is wise to it, and there is no room through at turn 6.
Lewis plays dare with his front wing more than any other driver I've ever seen in Formula 1. catches him out occasionally.
Lock up from Kimi Räikkönen, just a tyre change, by the way, for Danny Kvyat when he came to the pits.
And Lewis being reminded, with overtake and with DRS and with the raw speed of the Mercedes, he's got about 20 miles an hour over the Red Bull. He should, if he gets lined up, he should nail him down into turn 6 easily.
What he needs is Ricciardo not to have DRS himself, and then he will get it done, but Ricciardo's got it at the moment.
Okay, Kevin, some cars in front are starting to pit. If we can make good progress in this stint, then we can be in with a shout of some points.
Still getting the encouragement. Kevin Magnussen down in 18th place at the moment. He's cleared Chilton and Kobayashi and Ericsson. Out in front, 6.2 seconds now the gap between Rosberg and Bottas. Vettel dropping back a bit from Bottas. 2 seconds the difference between second and third. Then comes Alonso, Hulkenberg, Button right behind Nico Hulkenberg, as he has been throughout most of the race. Then comes Perez, and this queue, Raikkonen, Ricciardo, Hamilton.
I see tears. I see unhappiness.
But who? DRS from Ricciardo. Hold your breath. Here we go again. Hamilton on the inside. He's trying to get this move done before the hairpin. He breaks that little bit later. Raikkonen gets squeezed just a little bit. Somehow they all avoid contact. Somehow they all come out of the hairpin in exactly the same order.
Yes, I had a feeling that Lewis might be able to pick the throttle up and make that one work, but next time maybe.
Now here goes Ricciardo on the inside of Kimi Räikkönen. It's Perez and the Force India from the Red Bull of Ricciardo, from the Ferrari of Räikkönen, from the Mercedes of Hamilton.
So this is all over then, 7th, 8th, 9th and 10th.
Hamilton surely not into the stadium sector. You can't get past here, can you? He's certainly going for it. Pushes Räikkönen out wide. Räikkönen's now got the inside line. There just wasn't enough straight line for Lewis Hamilton to get that move done, but there's a seeming an urgency about this now. Hamilton trying to get on with it, desperate to get on with it, and just coming up against cars that are a little bit too fast for him to get the move done.
Supreme skill from both those drivers. Supreme skill. To go through there side by side, not touch, not run onto the gravel. That's why they were world champions.
This, the scrap that Sergio Perez leads at the moment for 7th, for 8th with Ricciardo, for 9th with Raikkonen, for 10th with Hamilton. Right behind him, Jean-Eric Vergne and Adrian Sutil now as well, whilst Rosberg scampers out in front. This is where all the action's taking place at the moment. And towards the hairpin we go once more. DRS zone wide open for Daniel Ricciardo, late on the brakes. Lewis Hamilton, but not close enough to Kimi Räikkönen. He hasn't got that pace advantage compared to the Red Bull when he's trying to attack the Ferrari, it seems.
Yeah, Red Bull's got a problem now in terms of the straight line speed of the Force India there, but that is why Ricciardo's happened to be very opportunistic with his moves.
Yeah, and getting it done very neatly indeed. We have seen incidents aplenty, and we're only on lap 13 of this German Grand Prix. Felipe Massa is out of it after an incident with Kevin Magnussen.
Okay, Lewis, looks like some of the option runners are struggling with front left graining. Stops are going to start happening soon.
Stuck in a lot of traffic.
Yeah, copy that, Lewis. Yeah, we just need to make sure we get to the end.
Alonso, the first of the leading runners then to come in and change tyres onto the soft compound tyre, the prime compound tyre, and the pit lane loss should be about 18 seconds or so, right, 19.1 seconds. So that's the gap that the strategists are looking at to try and feed these cars back into clean traffic. Raikkonen having to slow down a little bit there because Ricciardo was going slowly out in front. Now is Raikkonen seizing up the Red Bull here to have a go towards the hairpin.
Ricciardo struggling with his tyres. This is costing Hamilton dearly. He's now 25 seconds off the lead, and Ricciardo struggling on those super softs.
There goes Hamilton again, down the inside, late under braking, locks up, and they certainly touch, and there's a bit of bodywork flies off the Ferrari as Lewis Hamilton slides his way past, beats Ricciardo, beats Raikkonen out of that hairpin. Hamilton moves himself up into 7th, but it wasn't without incident.
Critical, important, risky beyond belief. And he made it through, didn't he? And again, and he saw the opening, and it was always going to have to be none of them, an accident, or both of them.
It was like driving on ice. It really was. Watch the lock-up here for Lewis Hamilton.
How they didn't manage to hit Perez, I'll never know.
Oh dear, oh dear. It's an almighty charge by Lewis Hamilton, this.
Oh, that was... Well, 10 centimetres later on the brakes, and that was just a huge crash. He's got away with it.
And watch what flies off the right-hand side of the front wing. Raikkonen's car like an arrow spearing up into the sky. That could have been puncture time as well, as Jenson Button comes out of the pits. Jean-Eric Vergne comes into it, and not surprisingly, Daniel Ricciardo, who was starting to struggle a bit on those super soft tyres, makes his way out as well. He's now down in 16th place, Button down in 14th. Really slow stop, Martin, 5.9 seconds for Jenson Button. Lost a lot of time, and Sergio Perez has just been overtaken by Lewis Hamilton, who is now up into 5th place. Ted, down to you.
Yeah, Jenson was just held in the pit box for a couple of seconds while a Toro Rosso came past. That's why he lost a couple of seconds there.
Thank you very much, Ted. Felipe Massa back in the Williams motor home. Rosberg leads from Bottas and Vettel. That's the top three. Hülkenberg running fourth. They haven't stopped yet. After that comes Lewis Hamilton, who hasn't stopped either, and Sergio Perez in the Force India. We can see once again how Hamilton got past Perez.
Yeah, he's got the same engine, better aerodynamics, assistance from the DRS, and that was somewhat easier and less stressful than the previous time through turn 6, wasn't it? Oh, look at that. Kimi getting well out of Alonso, sorry, getting well out of shape as well. Coming past Adrian Sutil on his way back, having made that pit stop, as Vettel and Hülkenberg pit too. So does Perez.
And 3.3 seconds stop for Sebastian Vettel, which is slow by Red Bull standards. He's now out of the track in 5th place. Oh, look at that. One Red Bull in between two Ferraris. Vettel just ahead of Fernando Alonso, but not by much. Remember, Alonso stopped a couple of laps early in the undercut, nearly paying dividends for him. Raikkonen hasn't stopped yet. He's on the soft compound tyres, so can go longer onto this first stint. He's going to have a real go for it here. Could there be more tears as Vettel switches to the inside line going into that hairpin? It's 3 abreast once more.
They touched.
And there's bodywork once again from maybe Kimi Raikkonen's front wing.
Yeah, Raikkonen and Vettel touched. I thought they were going to play the team game there and squeeze Vettel right out of it, but Raikkonen didn't play ball.
Sebastian Vettel then.
Oh, he's gone wide.
And he's locked up. Fernando Alonso senses an opportunity. Raikkonen just hanging back a little bit from that, thinking maybe I can pick up a scrap or two here, as into the pits comes our race leader, Nico Rosberg.
DRS disabled, so there's a problem out there somewhere. Whether it's that debris in the middle of the track from Raikkonen's car, it is down at the turn 6 hairpin as Bottas pits from 2nd place too.
So out into the race once again comes Nico Rosberg, and he goes back out into the lead. Bottas now comes into the pits himself, and they're all changing onto the soft compound tyre for a longer second stint in a race that could be a 2-stop race. These conditions more likely to be a 2-stop race as opposed to the predictions of a 3-stop strategy in the blazing heats of Friday and Saturday. Martin, talk us through this again.
Yeah, well, Vettel was let off the hook there a little bit. I thought Kimi might, he was getting jockeyed. He managed to hit both the cars, but they pincered him, that's why. But I think if Raikkonen had stayed right, he could have played a bit of a pincer there in terms of keeping Vettel back, and instead he passed both Ferraris at the same time.
7 world championships of experience going into that, and here's one more with Jenson Button, who is currently in 10th place.
I'll tell you something that was critical in there, and great bravery from Vettel. There was a point there where he was running out of road quite quickly at about 170 miles an hour, and he kept his foot planted, just like we saw him do in Monza when he was side by side with Fernando Alonso, and just like we saw them both doing in Silverstone 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, we're quite happy when these two get together on the track. Certainly at the moment. Maybe last year it wasn't as much of a contest, but this year, oh boy, is it worth watching. We're on lap 16.
That's a safe fuel. Negative, Lewis, negative. We are good on fuel.
And P2 now.
7.7 seconds behind his teammate, but obviously Hamilton hasn't stopped in this race yet, but he is ahead at least of Valtteri Bottas. So that counter strategy to the Williams helping Hamilton here, because he's not having to try and get past the Williams, which you would imagine will be quite a stubborn stumbling block for him.
So fuel's okay, we've just heard then. So all we need to know now is how far can he go on this set of tyres, and how quickly can he do that?
Well, he's very much in the window for a tyre change. I'm sure Ted Kravitz has been looking at when those windows may open and shut.
Well, Lewis Hamilton's the guinea pig, isn't he? He's the litmus test for everybody on these soft tyres. 25 laps, they think. they'll last. It looks like Fernando Alonso might have to do a 3. The first of the stoppers around lap 12. Everybody else around lap 17. In fact, they came in around lap 15, didn't they, a couple of laps ago. Expect to see them again in around lap 38 if they're sticking to a 2.
Okay, and fail 5, fail, fail, 5, fail. Okay, that has affected upshifts. It's something we need to do.
And needs a bit of a reset to whatever engine mode is causing problems.
That's going into the menu on the steering wheel. That sounds like early signs of gremlins there for Daniel Ricciardo. But remember, Ricciardo did, was it 37 laps in Silverstone on one set of tyres and just kept stretching them out, making them work. And these temperatures actually dropped to 32 now, the track, and possible rain coming in. I think they'll just hang on as long as they can, surely, to Hamilton's tyres.
So Bottas 2/10 faster, sector 2. You are forecast P2, even if Bottas overtakes.
You see, here's the thing, Hamilton and Rosberg using a little fraction less fuel than Valtteri Bottas at the moment. And talking of fractions, Hamilton lost out by 1/10 of a second to Bottas in that last lap. Bottas, who pitted on lap 15 for new tyres. Hamilton has been running those tyres right from the start. Button's pitted, and he has Pastor Maldonado right behind him at the moment, 8th and 9th. And there's Daniel Ricciardo getting past Romain Grosjean in the battle for 11th and 12th. Jean-Eric Verne leads, Jules Bianchi leads the Force India of Sergio Perez through the hairpin. Perez pitting himself on lap 14. But Hamilton and Bottas, there's barely anything in between the times, and Hamilton's only he's a couple of tenths faster than his teammate on the previous lap, Martin. We'll see now what the difference is on this lap. 1:22.2 for Rosberg and 1:22.4 for Hamilton.
Just fading back a little bit. So that was an important piece of information they gave him, is even if Bottas passes and catches you, in other words, don't trip over him, you're still going to beat him in terms of raw pace and the strategy we've got in mind. So how long will they leave him out there? There's no point leaving him out if they think they can one stop. Obviously it's worth stretching it. If they can't, then obviously they will, you know, they'll optimise it and pull him in at just the right moment and desperately try not to put him back in an angry pack like he somehow made his way through.
Right.
Intact.
Small drops of rain in the visors.
Copy that. Nothing big on the radar at the moment. Nothing big on the radar.
It always seems more, as you know, now you've driven an F1 car, Crofty, it always seems more on the visor than it does anywhere else. It streams off your visor a few spots, and you have to look at the track.
The only rain that was on my visor on that day was from the tears in my eyes of quite ultimate satisfaction. Just getting back to strategy, it's where can they drop Lewis Hamilton back into this race as well? I just wonder at the moment, is there a gap forming that gets Hamilton out in front of Kevin Magnussen and just behind Jenson Button? That's what the strategists will be looking at, Ted.
He needs to do a few more laps to make the strategy work, does Lewis Hamilton. So if we all think, and all the team's simulations of this race said that Lewis Hamilton would eventually best chance be P2, but some distance behind Rosberg, then it looks like it's either rain, and it is spotting with rain here in the pit lane. Team radio.
Okay, Lewis, it's not critical keeping the position. We just need to make sure we get this stint length. So you'll be target lap or target -2.
Yeah, okay, but get the stint length of 25 laps, or maybe 23, as he said. And then, who knows, maybe a late safety car. We might have a situation like Bahrain, when they will be Rosberg first, Hamilton second, and then a race to the finish.
Who knows, but
Who knows?
Lewis Hamilton has just given up that place, Martin, nice and easily, as he was almost been instructed to do by Pete Bonington.
So how do you read that then, that they're trying to stretch it to a one-stop? And if it can't be read any other way, letting him through and not worrying about him can only mean you're not planning to stop.
Or they're just, it's kind of target -2 was the, as we look at Daniel Ricciardo just ahead of Kevin Magnussen, and Ricciardo has got himself up into 9th place and now splits the two McLarens. If there's rain in the air, they want to stretch that stint length if the rain's coming in as well, or if it's a two-stop, he has of course got the option to go prime option, soft, super soft, super soft. And you're not going to get, what have we got, another 46 laps. You're not going to get 23 laps out of the super soft tyres on each stint.
I thought so. But I didn't think we'd get 37 laps out of a set in Silverstone.
Kimi Räikkönen, who, like Hamilton, started on the soft compound tyres, has just come into the pits to let you know. And this is how Ricciardo got past Kevin Magnussen, who gave him all the width in the world into the hairpin there. Out onto the racetrack comes Kimi Räikkönen behind the Sauber of Adrian Sutil, down in 14th place. And behind that, Danny Kvyat is now under pressure from Pastor Maldonado going into turn 2. Maldonado spied a gap, and Kvyat just about closed that off, but this is going to now carry on down towards the hairpin as well as Kvyat runs wide and out onto the blue and white curves, and that will certainly give Pastor Maldonado all the encouragement he wants. On the week, of course, where his future was secured at Lotus for at least another season, Pastor Maldonado is enjoying himself this afternoon, and he puts that Lotus past the Toro Rosso and up into 15th place.
Yeah, he's been as high as 10th with the strategy called, so Maldonado and Lotus having a better race than expected. Grosjean up in 11th at the moment, still hasn't stopped.
Right, on board with Sergio Perez now in 11th place. Not for long though. Here comes Romain Grosjean right past him. Both Lotuses enjoying themselves this afternoon. Jean-Eric Verne in the Toro Rosso goes through your screen. He's 10th, and behind them comes Grosjean and Perez. Perez, was he caught unawares or what? But he was certainly caught by the Lotus there. Ted, quickly down to you.
Well, the other possibility is that Mercedes think Williams are going to 3-stop. Not much between a 2 and a 3 at this race. A very short pit lane, of course, with Lewis doing a 2.
So Perez got past Grosjean and then went wide.
Yeah, some bold stuff going on out there.
Probably good race. What about those tyres, Martin?
Front left looks a touch angry, but he's losing pace. He's down in 23.4 now against 21.8 for his teammates, so he's losing. No wonder they're feeling the need to keep reassuring Lewis, because he's not got good pace out there at the moment.
It's normally the rears that will bring you into the pits first here. It's Perez and Grosjean part 2. Perez is now ahead of that Lotus, and it's Kimi Räikkönen ahead of Adrian Sutil just behind them. So Sergio Perez now up into 11th place, ahead of Romain Grosjean. After Grosjean comes Kimi Räikkönen and Adrian Sutil. Räikkönen having a chance for a bit of overtaking today, but barely anything left on the right-hand side of that front wing of his after his incidents at the hairpin with Lewis Hamilton and then with Sebastian Vettel.
Nico Rosberg just led the 500th lap of his Formula 1 career. Decent tally that.
Most of which have come in the last year and a half. Big lock up there by Grosjean. Going through the hairpin, the Sachs curve. Quite a camber on that part of the track. What is a pretty flat piece of land.
Well, Grosjean's like Hamilton. Only those two drivers haven't pit stopped yet in this race.
Felipe Massa, the only driver out of this race, if you're just joining us on this Sunday afternoon, after a first corner incident with Kevin Magnussen that the stewards have deemed a racing incident. Magnussen races on, currently in 9th place.
Checo, we need to lift and coast, please.
What about the rain at the end?
We can't be certain about that at this stage. We cannot be certain and cannot rely on the rain, so please lift and coast. It's the last time I'm going to ask you, okay?
So he's obviously been warned before, Sergio Perez. He wants to fight for as many places as he can as Kimi Räikkönen now goes up into 12th place. But lift and coast basically meaning you're running out of fuel if you carry on at this pace. That 100 kilos limit from lights out to the flag.
Pretty stern message there from his engineer, that's for sure.
Well, if he's been warned a couple of times or maybe 3 times before and he's not got the message, the last thing Force India want is him not to finish this race.
Mercedes must be concerned with Hamilton's lack of pace at the moment in terms of they're obviously not aiming at a victory unless something happens to Rosberg's car. They're aiming for 2nd place, but he's mid 1:23s. Vettel, Alonso, Hulkenberg, Button are all flying along nicely, so they've got a confidence that they will somehow stretch this out and it'll come back to them.
You see there the Lotus of Romain Grosjean leaving the track at the final turn. They're actually investigating the stewards, Romain Grosjean and Jean-Eric Verne, for leaving the track and gaining an advantage. We just saw Grosjean do it out of the final turn, all 4 wheels over the white line. We're actually on board now with Adrian Sutil, who has Grosjean for company, 13th and 14th. Sutil's going to have a little go in the Sauber here.
The gaining advantage, gaining a lasting advantage, I think is exactly what the regulations say, is if you come out of those corners and gain and run wide, you then pick up DRS, you then make a move and a pass into turn 2. That's a lasting advantage. That's what they're looking out for.
Raikkonen has got ahead of Perez. Here's how. Perez having to lift and coast a little bit, remember?
Lift and coast is at the end of the straight, but I think he's just got more grip coming off the corner.
This is Sutil on Grosjean. Certainly on a part of the track, Martin, that does its utmost to encourage with DRS overtaking, and we're seeing plenty of it in the opening third of this race this afternoon, that is still led by Nico Rosberg. 11.6 seconds, the difference between Rosberg and Bottas. Hamilton now nearly 5 seconds behind.
Okay, Lewis, we go to menu magic position 1. Menu magic position 1. There's no rush. This is just for the pit stop.
I've never heard of that switch. Which one?
Okay, don't worry about it, mate. Don't worry about it. Just leave it.
I'm not surprised. They make up a different name every week.
Sorry, I find that fun.
You've got the menu magic button, the Paul Daniels button, and the lovely Debbie McGee button to follow.
It must be a nightmare. I remember sitting in Alonso's car when I drove it last year, yeah, counting 42 separate controls, some of which have got sub-menus, and occasionally obviously there's one in there you haven't heard of.
But the important thing about that is the pit stop's coming then. And
yeah.
It has to soon. Is it now?
Not this lot, that's for sure, because you have to cut very tight in from the penultimate corner if you're going to make that pit lane. So, yeah.
Hamilton 5.5 seconds behind Bottas. Obviously been closed in by Sebastian Vettel and Fernando Alonso, running 4th and 5th at the moment. Alonso only 8 tenths behind Vettel as we look at his teammate, Kimi Raikkonen.
He's got a new set of super softs on, Raikkonen, and he's been flying along since he put those on. Quickest man out on the racetrack at the moment on a 1:22.1, so they're really biting into the track. That's good information for everybody.
Would suggest Kimi Raikkonen really enjoying himself this afternoon, getting the opportunity at least to have a race, albeit for 10th place at the moment.
Let's see how long they hang on for, because that's the next piece of information they need before they jump that particular gun, and to see if the super softs might be the tyre in these conditions.
Okay, Lewis, so box, we'll be going to +1, same tyre.
This is Raikkonen and Magnussen. And Kimi Raikkonen now up into 9th place, and he will be enjoying that. There's no contact whatsoever in that move down into the hairpin of the Ferrari on those super soft tyres away from Magnussen. He can now start to streak as Jean-Eric Verne gets a 5-second stop-go penalty for leaving the track and gaining an advantage, and Hamilton now comes into the pits. Verne down in 11th place, just to remind you. So Hamilton pits then from 3rd in this race. Vettel and Alonso go swiftly past him. And it's another set of soft compound tyres, so two-stop strategy you would imagine for Lewis Hamilton from here.
A little bit past his marks again, which costs you, and that's why it's a 3-second stop and not a 2-point something.
Hamilton now back out onto the racetrack in 8th place. The car in front of him, Kamui Kobayashi, is one of the 3 that have been lapped so far. Chilton, Ericsson and Kobayashi. Ted, to you.
To me, looked to me that he was just under sort of 10 centimetres long in his pit box, so guaranteed 2-stop strategy for Lewis Hamilton. By the evidence of Kimi Raikkonen, I'm not sure whether they're on the right tyre at the moment, because the super soft seems to be going quite well. We'll see how long it can last though, but expect to see Lewis in again around lap 40.
So they've thrown the dice. They've taken that pain with Hamilton to make this set go nice and long and give him a shorter run. They're obviously concerned about the super softs at the end.
Yeah, there is a problem with the power. No power. Scenario 11.
And that is a poor sight and a lack of power for Romain Grosjean, who shakes his head, and once more his race has been ruined, Martin, through no fault of his own. Another mechanical failure for Romain Grosjean. That is his, what, 4th DNF of the season.
DRS disabled then, and they don't have handbrakes on F1 cars, unfortunately.
Stand by, Nico, stand by. We're looking for a driver default.
And we've got issues at Force India with Hulkenberg as well. So Hamilton now 8th place behind Ricciardo once again. Ricciardo's teammate Sebastian Vettel has Fernando Alonso for company, and there would have been no DRS benefits for Alonso there, much to his annoyance, I'm sure. Here's Hulkenberg currently running in 5th place. Got the track pretty much all to himself at the moment. Not many out there that can say that. Rosberg has been leading from start to finish in this race so far, 13 seconds clear of Valtteri Bottas at the moment.
And so Lewis Hamilton's got to pass Ricciardo again by taking that pain and going long with those tyres. It's Ricciardo's undercut him. So P8 then he's got to go from, hasn't he? He's still got a lot of work to do, Hamilton, if he wants to minimise the championship pain today.
What he will have at the end of this race, though, is the faster super soft tyre with obviously the least amount of fuel on board, so it should be able to last that bit longer. And those around him should be, I would imagine, at that moment on the soft compound tyre. That's what Mercedes will be hoping. Hulkenberg, we heard about the little issue there. He's lapping at the moment.
Chassis switch to position 2.
I am in 2.
Move
but
it
I can't do anything because I got the alarm.
Yeah, move.
It's like blocked.
Yeah. Move the chassis switch backwards and forwards to back out of 2, back to 2.
Temperature alarm, isn't it?
Yeah.
Air temperature, he says.
Yeah, what he's saying is he can't get into what he needs to do.
Here's Hamilton and Ricciardo. Hamilton with tyres that are that much fresher. DRS advantage as well, tries a little switcheroo on Daniel Ricciardo, and it's wheel to wheel, but not for long, because Hamilton gets himself ahead of the Red Bull, and now up in a 7th, but can Ricciardo come dancing around the outside? The man that we saw dancing in front of his race engineer in practice the other day. No, he's just not close enough this time.
Lewis smart enough to know he's still got to, he's passed him easily, but he's still got to cover him off. Into 8. So down the outside, and that's more, not a passing move really, that's more to put him out of place so that he's slow through the apex. Nail him through the outside, sort of like a snooker player thinking 2 or 3 shots ahead. And now he knows he's got to stay a bit left, otherwise Ricciardo will just slither up the inside and come back at him.
All neatly done, nicely worked out, and Lewis Hamilton up in a 7th place as his former teammate Jenson Button ahead of him. Button at the moment lapping about 0.4 of a second faster than Nico Hulkenberg, who, as we saw, had problems with an air temperature warning lighting up on his dashboard of the Force India.
Hamilton into 121s now with all of that on the previous lap, so yeah, he's got some pace, which is surprisingly.
Just about to say, Hulkenberg, one of only 2 drivers to have finished in the points in every race this season, at the halfway stage of this season. Oh, that's Jenson Button and Lewis Hamilton, and they collide at turn 6, and there is damage to the left-hand side of Lewis Hamilton's front wing. Major damage, it looked like, as well. It's kind of hanging on, but won't be half as effective, Martin, as it was previously.
It's the cascade. He can help that a little bit with some differential settings. He's lost, I think, if the main plane is still there, he should be okay. It'll just understeer a bit more with the cascade gone off the top. But Lewis has been pushing his luck into this corner, hasn't he? Jenson almost looked like he'd sort of missed the corner.
Yeah, and then kind of cuts across. You remember how Adrian Sutil and Lewis came very close to each other in the opening stages? Did Button just not see him?
Hamilton, you safe in the rear?
Damage my front wing. I thought he was letting me pass.
Yeah, I can understand that. I can understand why Lewis thought that. And that's quite a bit of gubbins missing off that front wing, isn't it? It's not come in the pits and give up. Far from it, or lose 12 seconds changing the nose. Changing the nose, just going to compromise his pace a little bit.
You're going to lose quite a bit of downforce there. Is that an incident the stewards would look at? Now they're being a little bit more lenient. Look, Hamilton's having another go as well on Jenson Button. Has got a massive pace advantage on Jenson Button. Under braking, they get close, but not too close. And Hamilton this time around, at some cost previously, but this time around gets that move done and up into 6th place.
Yeah, there'll be a few people at McLaren shaking their heads on that one, watching a supposedly similarly engined car, albeit with a bit of DRS assistance, and he's going sorry. He's apologising to him at a couple of 100 miles an hour, as you do.
Yeah. Not just waving goodbye or anything like that.
No, he was apologising. He misread the situation, but I can understand why he misread that, because Jensen was sort of hanging. I think he just got in a bit deep and was hanging out there and didn't realise Lewis had pounced.
So the incidents keep on coming. Hamilton now up into sixth place as Hulkenberg ahead of him. So the view from inside the Mercedes garage. And we shouldn't forget, out in front is Nico Rosberg by 14 seconds. Button has now come into the pits. So maybe his tyres were starting to go a little bit anyway. Button, who had pitted on lap 13, so they were, what, 18 laps old, those soft tyres.
So Hamilton's still done a 1:22.2, which is a solid lap time next time around, so it's not hurting him too much.
Take a little bit of drag off the front. Cascade wing going, but it's under braking where it might hurt him a little bit. There's debris all over the track on the exit of that hairpin now. Gutierrez comes into the pits for what is his second stop in this race as well.
Is there anything we can do? Can't afford to change front wing, right?
Okay, Lewis, we're going to look at the strategy. We just see where your pace is. We're going to calculate something and see what we can do for you.
Concern for Lewis Hamilton. And after a man with a plan on the pit wall.
He can't afford to lose 12, so he's pitting. No, he's not. I can't afford to lose 12 seconds with a stop, can he? But he's obviously feeling some... He's still in the 122s. His pace, he's still the quickest driver out there. They're going to be telling him to hang on to that. They can give it... At his next stop, they can give him a tweak of wing on the other side and buy him some more front downforce. He's got the differential inside the car, so he can help. He can lock and unlock the differential on turn in.
The only other man in a similar pace to Lewis Hamilton at the moment is Kevin Magnussen. Sadly for him, down in, 14th place at the moment, as we just watch Lewis Hamilton on Nico Hulkenberg. Hamilton at the hairpin. Hulkenberg doesn't defend that really at all. And 5th place now for Lewis Hamilton. Hulkenberg in 6th. Let's go to the McLaren pit wall. Eric Boulier, the racing director, is standing by to talk to us. Just pitted Kevin Magnussen. Strategy completely changed after that first corner, and a real disappointment after what seemed like an excellent start, Eric.
Yeah, very, very disappointed, obviously. Didn't understand exactly the Massa move, but very disappointed because I think Kevin was about to do a good one.
Eric, was Jensen struggling for grip there? Because he seemed to sort of hang around on the outside of the hairpin. Lewis obviously misread what was going on, and then Jensen pitted.
I think it's just we are asking to push it a bit more on tires. Obviously, the way of racing, we knew we would pit early and soon, so it's just, a little bit pushing, and you overrate the track surface.
And Eric, we're just looking at the moment as the Ferrari Fernando Alonso comes in and trying to undercut Sebastian Vettel. This is a race full of incident at the moment. Are you confident that McLaren, you've got all your bases covered and you're running to what is now your revised target after that first corner?
Yeah, of course. I mean, we did our best, I guess, to try to be as aggressive as possible and change the plan. But we'll see. I think now we have to keep going until the end.
And just one more question. You've got the weather radar down there. 60% chance of rain. Is it still coming in towards the end of the race?
It may be possible, yeah. I mean, there is still showers developing around, but so far nothing on the close radar.
Thank you very much indeed.
Thanks.
And Kimi Raikkonen, we're right on board with at the moment, complaining about the front left of his car, Martin. Yeah, completely gone. He's looking to stop.
Yeah, look, he's got virtually full lock on there. He's like, okay, I know what your strategy says, guys. I can't drive this. So that's interesting then. When did he put those on? We'll just work that out. So Raikkonen they put them on like 20. So they made 15 and he's screaming to get rid of them. So they're not going to go too far, are they? And that is why, on Hamilton's car, they were desperately trying to stretch him out.
And why this stint will have to be stretched out as well. So maybe they can get 20 by the end. I mean, Raikkonen's had bodywork damage as well on that front wing, which might have helped.
So Vettel on Alonso here, and Vettel gets track position.
Yeah, Alonso tried the undercut, didn't he? on Sebastian Vettel, and Red Bull have moved to cover that. Maybe come in just a little bit before they would have wanted to, but they had to, because one more lap and Alonso would have been ahead of Sebastian Vettel there.
Okay, so we're looking at the moment then as if a dozen laps on the super soft. Look at that. The Ferrari breezes past with DRS.
But then locks up Fernando Alonso, and Sebastian Vettel now tries to get a really good exit out of the hairpin and chase that Ferrari down flat out through the right-hander, and approaching 170 miles an hour before they slam on the brakes once more, and through turn 8 they go, and it's Alonso ahead of Sebastian Vettel in the battle for 6th and for 7th.
And that's how Alonso got ahead in Silverstone initially, was as Vettel pitted, came out of the pits.
So we are, as we watch Fernando Alonso once more gaining on that Red Bull in front.
See, when Red Bull were on pole, getting away at the front, getting out of the DRS zone and all of that, their lack of straight line speed didn't hurt them too much. As soon as they're back in the pack, they're in trouble.
And now he's got a bit of clear air in front of him, ahead of him, Lewis Hamilton. Just set a fastest lap of the race that Fernando Alonso has just quickly usurped with a 1:21.6 for Lewis Hamilton on tyres. Well, 26 at 10 laps old. We're on lap 36 of this German Grand Prix. We are now past the halfway point of the Formula One World Championship in 2014, and it's the championship leader Nico Rosberg who is out in front by quite a wide margin, 15 seconds to Valtteri Bottas. Daniel Ricciardo, who in the championship at the moment is 3rd in this race, is currently 8th and trying to make up for the lost ground he suffered when Felipe Massa had his incident with Kevin Magnussen at the first corner, an incident that took Massa out of this race. He's the only one, Romain Grosjean out of this race as well, but he didn't survive the first corner, and he's now with Natalie Pinkham.
So Felipe, I gather you haven't seen the incident, so it must be pretty difficult to give your perspective on it. The stewards have decided not to take any further action. I mean, you must just be massively frustrated. Another DNF this season.
I am very frustrated because, first of all, you know, it's a race that we have a good car, so very good pace during the whole weekend. And then suddenly I even tried to be a little bit not so aggressive on the first corner, you know, not to be fighting with my teammate straight away on the first corner. It's not a corner that you can do 3 cars on that corner, you know. And then suddenly I'm turned on his side, so I back off a little bit, so when he was in front I start to do the corner, and then another car just hit me behind, and there's nothing you can do. So it's another DNF, very frustrating because of that. So it's another race that we would score massive points with both cars, you know, and it's really disappointed, you know.
Really bad luck. Thank you for talking to us.
Williams, who went into this race with the intention of overhauling Ferrari in the Constructors' Championship, should still happen at the moment with Valtteri Bottas in 2nd place, but the real battle here, Martin, is can Bottas hold on to that 2nd place? Mercedes think they can get a 1-2 out of this race.
Well, Lewis's pace is solid despite his broken front wing. It's not quite as good as Vettel and Alonso flying along in the 1:21s now. They're really pushing on hard and using their new tyres nicely. But yeah, it's a story, isn't it? Can Hamilton get up there and grab those extra 3 points for 2nd place and minimise the damage? If the computer didn't tell us, I'm not sure how we'd know Rosberg was even still in the venue. Haven't seen him, have we?
No, he's around somewhere.
Yeah.
He's just coming up to turn 7 at the moment as we're on board with Fernando Alonso going through turn 1, and Alonso has Nico Hülkenberg and the Force India ahead of him, I would imagine, for not much longer, but he locks up going into turn 2. There's a bit of a tailwind taking you into turn 2 today, making it a bit hard. And oh look, there's Sebastian Vettel right on the end of this little battle as well, as Alonso, as you can see, pulls over to the left-hand side and clearly beats Nico Hülkenberg for a bit of pace. Is Vettel going to try and dive down the inside here at the hairpin? Yes, he is. Hülkenberg's lost 1 place. Looks like Hülkenberg could lose 2 places in the space of about 300 metres. Sadly for him, Alonso moves up into 4th, Vettel 5th, Hülkenberg 6th.
Track's too wide there, not a lot Hülkenberg could have done about that, especially with the pace that he's got at the moment. Verne pits from 11th as well in the Toro Rosso. Let's keep an eye on the pace. Hamilton's coming back at Bottas, got a very good speed there. I think Rosberg just coasting at the front as he pleases.
As you mentioned, very wide track indeed. Hülkenberg maybe thought not a good place to get involved with a scrap between those two, and didn't. That's what it looked like. If you were Nico Hulkenberg, just turning your head to see Alonso coming at you and coming past you. Ted, down to you.
That's also because Hulkenberg, we think, is on a different strategy to those two other guys. The Red Bulls, both Red Bulls we think are on a 3-stop. I think Fernando Alonso is probably on a 3-stop as well, because the Red Bulls are now on the super soft tyre. We don't think they can last 30 laps, Team Labor.
So Lewis, at the stop, we're thinking we'll try and add as much balance as we can with the wing that you have. It will lose us time if we change the wing.
Yeah, good thinking there from Mercedes, but yeah, really interesting mix of 2- and 3-stop strategies here. The Red Bulls will surely have to stop again because their tyres aren't going to make it to the end, but they're going to be racy at the end of the race as well.
The thing is, Lewis Hamilton should also be quite racy towards the end, Martin, even on a 2-stop strategy.
Yeah, they can crank a bit of wing on there. They can. I mean, he's not exactly much of a slouch at the moment, is he? But with what he has got, but if he needs to guarantee that second place, they'll crank a bit on the right-hand side.
We heard that message from Pete Bonington, his race engineer. The bit of radio we didn't hear before that was when Lewis said, you know, my left front already struggling. And Hamilton last came into the pits at lap 26, so 14 laps in. They need him to go longer with Mercedes.
That's an important point.
Really struggling with the left front now.
Seems like Lewis isn't the only one at Mercedes struggling. And whilst you never want to hear that message from Nico Rosberg, it is actually nice to hear from him.
Yes.
We now know he's out there.
Yeah, but yes, that's an important point, actually. And it's an important point. It's not just about the lap time. If it's scrubbing, if it's sliding across the racetrack, grip doesn't wear your tyres out anywhere near as much as sliding or spinning does.
See that left front looking very angry indeed.
It does for a medium. It does for the soft compound rather than the super soft, yes.
Which, you know, you would imagine then they can't make the adjustment they want to at the pit stop. Well, Martin, that's you know, on the super soft tyres, that's going to give Lewis Hamilton even more problems, isn't it?
They can crank some wing on that.
Hamilton running soft and soft to go super soft for his final run in this race.
That'd be a real guesstimation because nobody will have modelled how much wing you put on when a third of it's not there. Okay, they'll have enough information to give him a decent tweak.
His front left is not going to last.
Okay, Lewis, we'll have to start looking at other options then.
As Valtteri Bottas comes in for what is his second stop in this race. 26 laps to go in the race. He's back out once more. They've found a gap and they've got him ahead there of Alonso and of Sebastian Vettel. So if they're all running the same strategy, Bottas, Alonso, Vettel, they had to bring Bottas in then, Ted.
Bottas is doing a 2-stop, then he's got to go, as you say, 26 laps. Ooh, that's going to be tight, isn't it? It's possible, but it is going to be tight. Oh, contact there.
Yeah, that's Sergio Perez and Esteban Gutierrez. Contact, but didn't seem to be any damage. Carry on.
But I've been keeping an eye on Nico Rosberg's times. He was pulling away from Valtteri Bottas at about 0.7 of a second per lap, and then that stopped when Rosberg was starting to get, his tyres were starting to give up. But now Bottas has pitted as well. I expect to see Rosberg in that.
Thank you, Ted.
So we know Lewis can't get 15 laps out of the super softs as Rosberg pits. So that means he's got to do another dozen laps on at least on a set of tyres. He said they're not going to make it. He's in, you know, they're in trouble there.
Yeah.
He's either got to make that happen or they need to go to a 3-stopper now, right now.
And then just let him charge and hope that the fuel is there to do it. Rosberg pits from the lead, comes back out onto the track in the lead. His teammate is currently in second place ahead of Valtteri Bottas for Williams.
Sebastian, we need a little bit more fuel,
Tell me what you want. Do you want me to pass or you want to save fuel like a duck?
We just need a little bit more fuel, target plus O2. Respect the beeps in turn 13.
And that's the beeps when he's being told to lift and coast to try and save fuel. But, oh, is that someone going off the track? Or was that just a camera picking up the Marussia and then just panning rather wildly? I think it was the latter.
I hope so.
But that's a good question from Vettel, isn't it? What do you want to do? Pass, save fuel?
He's been a bit Mr. Grumpy lately, hasn't he?
The answer from Red Bull's probably both. Trouble is you can't really manage that.
He's ahead of Ricciardo today, though. But he's just frustrated. Yeah.
Okay, Lewis, so box, 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 box. Push it as much as you can. We're splitting this now.
You know when you said, Martin, he was going to have to come in now. And this is quite key for Mercedes, because they've now changed Lewis Hamilton's strategy mid-race, something that, unless a scenario like this comes up, the team said they wouldn't be doing. They give both drivers the same strategy.
Unless if they bother to change the nose, I think they'll just tweak it and just give him a set of boots. Yeah, they tweaked the left-hand side, didn't see the right. Must have been something going on the right-hand side. So they've given him a little bit more front wing. It's cost them half a second only to do that, and now he's got two, effectively every lap for the rest of the race, if he's got, with whatever fuel he's got left, needs to be qualifying style. And you can still drive qualifying style, even if you have to lift and coast, frankly.
Yep, and he's out ahead of Jenson Button and Daniel Ricciardo. They spotted the gap, they've got him out, and now he can charge after the fuel-saving Sebastian Vettel and Fernando Alonso, just a little bit further up ahead of him on the road as we...
Okay, Lewis, so you'll be on 13 lap stints, we think. So we need to manage them. We will need to manage them, but you should have good pace.
As we see Jenson Button into the hairpin, just ahead of Daniel Ricciardo. The charging Daniel Ricciardo has been absolutely flying since his last pit stop on those super soft tyres. He's going to have a go down the inside, locks up, makes the apex just, but Jenson Button keeps going, keeps ahead, and reasserts his authority in this particular battle for the time being.
So, 2 lots of 13 laps. No wonder he's got to manage them. We heard Raikkonen screaming at 15 that his left front had gone, and we saw him on full lock trying to get around a hairpin. So they've got a little bit less fuel on board. Hamilton's got a better car. He's being reminded, look, it's still not easy to do 26 laps on 2 sets of those tyres.
Danny Kvyat puts himself into 14th place ahead of Esteban Gutierrez. And this was Sergio Perez and Adrian Sutil, currently running 11th and 12th. Perez ahead of Adrian Sutil going into that stadium complex. Bravery again.
Perez loves to get up close and personal, doesn't he, when he's in combat?
He does. He wants to get into the points as well. At the moment, is a little bit behind Kimi Raikkonen by about 6 seconds in his bid to get into the points. So we're on lap 44 of this German Grand Prix, pretty much at 2/3 race distance.
And what a fine race it's been. I was out of breath at one point there. I think there's more to come yet.
We'll take a big deep breath and we'll go into the last third with renewed enthusiasm then, because there are battles everywhere, mixed up strategies everywhere. For Nico Rosberg, you know, the win is there for him at the moment, but it's not going to be without just a few worrying moments in terms of tyre wear.
Hamilton's pace is utterly stunning right now, unsurprisingly on the new Super Softs. He might be getting the telephone call to say, make sure you can get these 13 laps, because he's about to smash the fastest lap of the race.
It's hammer time, is it?
Look at the graining on the left front of Ricciardo's Super Softs. That is what Hamilton's got to make sure he doesn't get. It looks like is it a blister or pickup on the right front? I think it's blister's pickup, I think.
Probably a bit of pickup. 10 laps old, those tyres.
Yeah.
For Daniel Ricciardo. Not helped, of course, by the fact that he's running behind Jenson Button here and can't get past Button. Hamilton's last lap, Martin, on 1:20.7. Pretty hot.
Yeah, it was. Rosberg's doing a 21.4 on the soft compound. I don't want to call them mediums, on the soft compound. So it doesn't look like Lewis was outrageous on those. He didn't take it all out of it.
It's a strategy that would have been working quite comfortably for Hamilton had he not lost part of his front wing when he made contact with Jenson Button. And that's where it started to go a little bit wrong, and where Mercedes, for the first time this year, I think, have changed strategy for one of their drivers mid-race. They have a plan in the morning, and if it's a 2 or a 3 stop, that's the way they go into it. That's the stops they're going to get. But if something happens, a bit unforeseen, like some damage to bodywork, that's when they will change it.
Vettel pits.
Yeah. Sebastian Vettel comes in then, and Valtteri Bottas is out there ahead of Fernando Alonso, but he's gaining a bit as well, though on a three-stop strategy for Red Bull and for Ferrari as well, we would assume. Hamilton with another fastest lap of the race, and there's a fire for Danny Kvyat, who needs to get out of that Toro Rosso very quickly indeed. I just see that the arm on the right-hand side.
Well, it could be a safety car.
And is that Kvyat away on the right-hand side? I think it is through the smoke. Yes, it is. He's managed to get himself free, and he's like, oh, what has happened? He's been in a spin. He punches the Armco now, and his car in flames by the side of the track. The second time this weekend we've seen a Renault engine, a Renault power unit, on fire at the rear of a car. Kamui Kobayashi in practice, and now Danny Kvyat.
If it's the battery pack, they don't go out very quickly.
He brings the car to a halt as soon as he can, and then he's got to try and get out of the car as quick as he possibly can there, Martin.
It looks more like an oil fire though, doesn't it? Yeah, is there any reason why Anthony's been in our heads, and a good point, is there any reason why you know, if Lewis can't make these super softs go, has he got another set of softs to put on?
He should have.
He used them in qualifying,
he only had 5 laps, didn't he, in qualifying, and he went into this race, did Lewis Hamilton, with 4 sets of options and 2 sets of primes.
But don't forget he spun off on one set. They would be unusable, wouldn't they? Ted, what do you think?
Yeah, 4 sets, 4 of options, 2 of primes. So I'd expect, if unless we get a safety car now, what have we got? The Red Bulls doing the 3rd of their 3 stops. And that's fine for Red Bull. They can go to the end on that set of soft tyres, but I would imagine Hamilton's going to pit again for another set of super softs.
I think they'll see how he gets on with this one, but obviously that's the fastest way. They need that pace though, don't they? Yeah. Having now had to change strategy because of the broken front wing. They need the pace of the super softs. I think that's what they're aiming at. They might be able to use the comfort though of the soft tyre, but it might cost them a place or two.
Well, no sign of... Oh, sorry, mate.
I don't like to see tractors on. I hit one once in Suzuka. It scares me because a single-seater goes underneath those things.
We're not expecting any rain before the end of the race.
So the dark clouds and the rain that is in this part of the world not going to be depositing the wet stuff onto the track. Bottas, by the way, 1.8 seconds in front of Alonso. Hamilton now 3 seconds behind Fernando Alonso. That's the margins he's been making up on Alonso in the last 3 laps.
Alonso's keeping Bottas very much in his sights, isn't he? Just 1.8 seconds behind now.
Alonso, the winner of the last 2 German Grand Prix at Hockenheim, going for quite an unprecedented hat-trick for him. But I don't think he's going to get anywhere near Nico Rosberg today, as finally the tractor gets that Toro Rosso away. We haven't had the safety car. We're on board now with Sebastian Vettel, the winner of the German Grand Prix last year, currently down in 6th place.
And Hamilton is a lap away from being on Alonso's gearbox.
Adrian Sutil now decides to pit for Sauber from 13th in this race, which is quite high altitude for Adrian Sutil during the course of this year. Still pointless, as are the Sauber team, of course. And Rosberg continues to lead as we go into lap 49. He's now actually gone past as Keke Rosberg's career laps led total. He's actually gone past his dad during the course of this race.
Good effort. So, critically then...
Pace good enough.
Yes, Lewis. Pace is good. Pace is good.
And critically, DRS enabled again, and Lewis will get the benefit of it.
Just in the nick of time, I would say, for Lewis Hamilton. There's the DRS line that you can see on just before the curve at turn 5. There's the DRS wide open, and there's Lewis Hamilton getting past Fernando Alonso and moving his Mercedes back into the podium positions again, up into 3rd place.
Alonso's been told he's on brand new super softs, and Alonso just help yourself, my friend. See you later.
Alonso's got a race perhaps with this man here, Sebastian Vettel, who has to get some overtaking done, and it's on Jenson Button this time around, and Button beaten into that hairpin in the McLaren as the Red Bull now moves up into 5th place and can start to hunt down Fernando Alonso once more.
Poor old Jensen's mirrors will be worn out in this race.
Not sure quite where to look. Hamilton looking straight ahead, and it's now Valtteri Bottas, the next car on the road. Bottas, of course, who doesn't have to stop again, and there's a spin. Adrian Sutil on the main straight. Lewis Hamilton did well to avoid that. Now, has he stalled the car? Can he get the car going once again? Because that will be a safety car, you'd imagine, Martin, if he can't get that thing moving.
A brave marshal who went out there.
Yellow flags being waved on that corner. Adrian Sutil sat on the grid.
It should have gone into anti-stall, but if he just lets the clutch out, it'll roll back out of the way.
Yeah, but at the moment, it's not rolling anywhere.
Oh, there's something wrong on the car. It's
Okay, Adrian, yeah.
on the pedal.
And he's just getting out of the car, and it's not moving anywhere. Now, what do you do in this situation, Martin? Do you want to get the marshals to push it out of the way? You can't leave it there, surely.
I can't see anything other than the safety car, frankly. You can't. I mean, they're waved yellows, double yellows there, so that means slow down and be prepared to stop. He's dropped it on the way in. Clearly the motor's still running at that point because he flips it around 180 degrees.
This is what it looked like from Alonso's car as Sutil spun himself round. And it's still there, as you can see, as Hamilton takes advantage of those yellow flags to pit for a third and final time in this race. The yellow flag's obviously slowing people down a touch on that straight, and he'll come out in 4th place behind Fernando Alonso.
So they're obviously anticipating possibly a safety car situation. But if the marshals do go out to it and they're covered under double waved yellows, they should be able to press a button that releases the clutch, and then the car will, they can just roll it harmlessly away, frankly.
Well, at the moment, no one's anywhere near it. The car's sort of prone in the middle of the track. Ted, down to you.
You can see, and that was early for Lewis Hamilton, so I think you're right, Martin, because he had another 3 or 4 laps to go on that stint, if we're to believe them. But I'm looking down, none of the marshals are doing anything. Looks like they're waiting for instructions.
There's a load walking down, Ted. There's a load I can see him on the right-hand side and out the windows. A load of marshals or officials now walking towards the car.
There is that gap on the wall where they could pull it back away from the racing line, but as you said, it'll be a brave marshal to do it.
Adrian Sutil's 5th retirement of the season. He ties with Jean-Eric Vergne for the most retirements of any driver. What it means is that pit stop for Hamilton, he did 8 laps on the super soft tyre rather than the planned 13. So he's got 16 laps now to run on those super soft tyres. So Mercedes are taking a gamble, surely, that we're going to get a safety car, but by the looks of it, no, we're not. We've got 3 marshals. It can't move the car. Double wave yellows on that final corner. Hamilton makes his move around it, and now they press the button and they can get that car going again. So we don't need the safety car, and they can push it out of the way, but it did take a while.
Yeah, well done those men. So when Hamilton came out, he was between Alonso and Vettel, so he's got to overtake Alonso again, which makes you start to think that Bottas is out of reach, doesn't it?
Yeah.
For 2nd place.
It's the fact that he got 16 laps on the super soft tyres, and people aren't running that without suffering a severe lack of grip on the rears. Did Mercedes bank on a safety car there? Was that the gamble they took? Remember, in Monaco, Hamilton wanted to take a gamble, didn't he, when we had that accident, and it's like, bring me in now, before the safety car. The team, rightly on that day, said no, they wanted a 1-2, and that's exactly what they got. But maybe it was a gamble that was worth taking today. They had nothing to lose.
Well, they were going to come in at some point, we knew that. And what's cost him is that misunderstanding with Button down at turn 6. That's what's cost him his shot at 2nd. Can he take 3rd? That's the big question now. He ought to be able to. He ought to be able, if his tyres will hang on, he ought to be able to get back up to Alonso.
Out in front, that man there, Nico Rosberg, long way clear of Valtteri Bottas, who might come under pressure towards the end of this race.
Yeah, I'm going to change my view on that. The way Hamilton's just pumped in a 120.2. He's just taken 3 seconds out of Alonso, although the yellow flags might come into that a little bit. Bottas is still in range. Bottas is still in range for second place.
Give me feedback on the tyre from your side.
Feels like we can make it to the end, but it's not going to be easy. I'm not going to be able to push.
Copy that, so just keep managing the pace to get to the end. We need to manage the pace now to get to the end.
I'm just going to add to that, Martin, as we see Daniel Ricciardo sizing up a move here on Nico Hülkenberg. Ricciardo, having stopped 3 times, now up into 7th place, ahead of Hülkenberg, who stopped only twice in this race in the Force India. But Hülkenberg is fighting him back here, and on the inside thought about it for a moment, and then realised that Ricciardo was just that half a car length too far in front, and Hülkenberg wasn't going to get that move made. I was just going to say, Bottas doesn't have to stop again. He's run both compounds of tyres, but will he? Seems like he won't.
Yeah, seems like he's going to try not to, but that makes him actually now a sitting duck for Hamilton. So Hamilton's 15 seconds behind Bottas. Make that 11.7. Such was Hamilton's last lap, a 1:19.9. So incredible. And Alonso really struggling for pace as well now. So Alonso, there will be easy meet, and then he'll be up behind Bottas. And he won't drag Vettel along with him. So, wow, yes, well done Mercedes-Benz. They have brought Hamilton somehow back into play for second place.
It's been probably a very intense afternoon on the pit wall here, and it is not yet over. The calmness and the serenity, bar a little bit of problems with his tyres and graining, has all been Nico Rosberg's, who is well on his way to another victory here and extending his lead in the championship as it stands at the moment.
Right, as Ted pointed out, Lewis has still got to do 16 laps on those super softs.
Out comes Kevin Magnussen down in 10th place, and Kimi Raikkonen in 11th was right behind him. Raikkonen stops in this race for his 3rd time. It's interesting, teams saying now we should get a 2-stop race out of this today, and a 2-stop should be the quickest way, but it's not quite looking that way at the moment as Raikkonen locks up. Perez is right now waiting for him to take 11th place off him, and Perez just scoots past round the outside and away.
Ted.
Perez had stopped just a lap earlier. I don't think they showed it on the telly, so that's why his tyres were up to nice and hot temperature. Kimi, as you say, saw just came out of the pits. So that's going to be a fight to the end. Another fight to the end is the Ricciardo and Hülkenberg battle as well. 2 versus 3 stops. Ricciardo 3, Hülkenberg 2.
That's how slow Alonso's going now. Gutierrez has just passed him.
That's to unlap himself.
Yeah, not that Gutierrez is necessarily that slow, but Gutierrez and Sauber is not normally going past Fernando Alonso these days.
But they obviously feel they can't bring Fernando Alonso in just yet. Maybe they need to at the end of this race. I'm just at the end of this lap. I'm just looking. They're milling around the Ferrari garage.
His left front shot to bits. They'll have to bring him in. He's just going backwards.
Yeah, they're waiting for him, Martin.
So Hamilton's passed him already.
Yeah, Hamilton now up into 3rd place in this race. Into the stadium section they come, and out come all the Ferrari mechanics for Fernando Alonso's 3rd and what should be final tyre change in this race. Now he's going to have some nice fresh rubber to try and undo all the lap time lost in the last sort of 3 or 4 laps.
He's going to come out around Jenson Buttonish, isn't he?
Jenson Button currently in 6th place. Where is Button? Just coming past our commentary box right now. There you can see him on your picture as Alonso gets to the end of the pit lane, and not only behind Button but behind Daniel Ricciardo as well. He's got 11 laps on those tyres to go and chase them down and see how close he can get to Sebastian Vettel by the end of this race.
And they're used super softs according to this computer here. Used through qualifying.
He went into this race, yeah, they must be. He'd used every single set of super soft tyres available to him as Ricciardo around the outside of Jenson Button at the hairpin. Switches late, and now will try and make the move through turn 7 and into turn 8. Slots back behind Jenson Button once again. Ricciardo, who beat Button to the podium at Silverstone 2 weeks ago, beats Button to the apex of turn 8 and moves himself up into 5th place. and gets a nice round of applause to do it.
Sold in the dummy. He's got the grip to go with it. Anyway, you're going to see it from his perspective. He's going to pretend he's going right, changes his mind, and boom, down the inside, didn't lock the wheel. Jensen's not exactly going to slam across the front of him like some of the youngsters. And on he goes. So Hamilton now just 5 seconds behind Bottas.
And on the charge by about 1.5 seconds a lap at the moment. And here's Fernando Alonso, and he thinks Jensen Button could be easy pickings for him as well, having just changed his tyres, of course. Maybe a bit too far away into turn 2. Alonso backs out of that move because he knows there's probably an easier one coming into the hairpin in a few moments' time. He's got the advantage of DRS. The gap in the rear wing will open for him, give him extra pace, and boom, to coin a phrase, there he goes, and he's away.
Again, better tyres than poor old Jensen. All we've got to do is see him. He keeps getting himself up into a reasonable position, and then he just gets mullered as soon as the tyres are going backwards, and he's a sitting duck, isn't he?
You mentioned Lewis Hamilton gaining on Valtteri Bottas. Action aplenty everywhere you look here. Stories aplenty too, one of which could be Pastor Maldonado at the moment, who has Sergio Perez behind him, but Maldonado running in the top 10. Is there any way that he can hang on, I wonder, to that 10th place and score what will be his first point in a long, long while?
Perez is catching him at a fair old rate.
Bottas, 5 seconds ahead. 5 seconds ahead. You are 1.5 seconds a lap faster. So this should be an easy catch. We just need to get tied to the end.
And that's the key phrase.
Yep. Last point for Maldonado, Hungary last year, almost a year ago. He's only got 1 point in the last 29 races. As you say, Perez catching him at quite a rate at the moment. And so Perez's tyres can hang on as well. Perez stopping on lap 53, though, for his last change. Ted, for you.
Bit of a catch-22, that, isn't it? I've been looking at Lewis Hamilton's times, and they're brilliant, and he's going to catch Bottas. The only problem is he might run out of tyres right at the end, but so will Bottas. So I think that's what will make Lewis Hamilton safe at the end, is that Bottas's tyres will be just as bad a state as Hamilton's will be, but Hamilton will be second ahead of him on track.
He's been told to cruise, hasn't he, as well? Valtteri Bottas.
We're told to stretch it out to the end, and Williams will probably be well satisfied, frankly, with a third place here. If they, no, I mean, we've just witnessed.
Let's not race him hard. We need to get this tyre to the end.
Okay, pretty much confirming that one then. But what we've witnessed today is just when they need to, just how dominant Mercedes are. When they have to show their pace. We've seen it twice before, Bahrain and Silverstone, after safety cars have gone in, the absolute true pace of that car. And now we've seen it again today.
Not just with Lewis Hamilton making his way through the field and trying to catch Nico Rosberg, but the way Rosberg then moves at the same pace ahead of everybody else in that opening stages at Silverstone, of course. So Bottas maybe on for a third place here, which would still be the 300th podium in Formula 1, of course, for Williams, car number 77, that started with 77 points in this particular race. And here is now Fernando Alonso and Daniel Ricciardo. And these are the drivers of the 3rd and 4th in the championship. Ricciardo on the inside. Alonso thought that move would be a little bit easier, I think, and that the Red Bull would be there for him. But now he's going to try it out of that hairpin. And does, before they get onto the inside at turn 7. Fernando Alonso is just ahead, but now down the inside at turn 8. Daniel Ricciardo wants to get that place back once again. Alonso just struggling a bit for traction out of that slow corner as we move on into the stadium sector. Is he going to try and dance around the outside here? No, he can't possibly do that, surely. Even if you are Fernando Alonso, and now the track gets narrower and narrower and narrower on that camber through the Sachs curve. Alonso won't give it up, but it's very difficult to pass there.
Ricciardo's shown this afternoon he's hungrier than some of these people are out there, because he just will not give these places up. He's driving it like it's a GP2 sprint race. He just will not give in. And that's against the man who never gives up.
3rd in the championship, Daniel Ricciardo at the start of this race. 9 points the difference between himself and Fernando Alonso. And he survived one escape There's Daniel Ricciardo. I think he's going to have to survive a few more before the end of this race. Out in front, to remind you once again, Rosberg 20 seconds now clear of Valtteri Bottas. Hamilton now a second behind Bottas in third. Sebastian Vettel 15 seconds back in fourth. Sparks from underneath that Red Bull. Lots of sparks. Under braking. There goes Ricciardo down towards the hairpin. Where's Alonso? Too far back. Not going to make the switch there. Does he get a decent enough exit to try once again? Thought about it, didn't he, into turn 7 and then backed out. So is he going to throw the dummy? Is he going to try and get down the inside? What's he going to do into turn 8? He's going to get a really good move out of turn 8, but not enough to go round the outside and onto the dirty part of the track. He forces maybe Ricciardo a little bit wide. Now into the stadium we go, and Fernando Alonso just too far back still, and putting Ricciardo under some severe pressure.
Ricciardo can keep that up until Alonso's tyres go off, and this is for P2 then.
Hamilton and Bottas. Don't expect this to be continued.
So you can use the overtake to try defending, use overtake to try defending if he attacks. But just bear in mind, we've got to get this tyre to the end.
All right, so defend a little bit, but not too much. Hamilton not in a position to make that move. It's Mercedes power against Mercedes power.
I don't think there's a whole lot of if about the attack.
Yeah.
The left front's not looking happy.
It's not. And has Hamilton got the arsenal that he needs to make that attack at the moment? We're all expecting an easy overtake here, but actually might it be a different story once this particular duel is played out?
Well, Williams are pretty quick in a straight line, aren't they? But you'd expect it to get done.
As Fernando Alonso and Daniel Ricciardo carry on their battle a little bit further back as well. Out of the hairpin, Ricciardo still just in front of Alonso. Just staying in front as well as we watch Bottas and Hamilton once more. Onto the main straight. They'll have the DRS detection zone. They've passed through, and now the activation zone coming their way. So many bits of rubber, little marbles off the side of the racing line as well, which doesn't make it easy for overtaking at this stage of the race. Can Hamilton put himself, you know, with his tyres starting to lose grip as well, Martin, close enough to have a go this time?
Bottas was very calm in turn 2, placed the car exactly where he needed, didn't get flustered with Hamilton behind him and got a better grip.
There goes Hamilton, no. Thinks about it again. Bottas places that Williams car exactly where Hamilton doesn't want it, and as every lap goes past, that front left certainly looks angrier and angrier on that Mercedes.
Both front tyres look horrible now. He needs to get this done straight away.
Okay, so we're going to charge up the battery where we can't get overtaken, and then you can use overtake to defend.
He's defended well so far, but has Fernando Alonso just got past Daniel Ricciardo? He did, but he's gone deep. And he goes deep, and this is another brilliant battle between a Ferrari and a Red Bull. Alonso went very deep into that hairpin, but he comes out in front. Ricciardo now down on the inside into turn 8. He goes. Alonso pushed a little bit wide, but there's just enough room for him to come past and exit out still in front. The battle for 5th and for 6th is Ferrari and Red Bull all over again. It's Alonso ahead.
Job done. He had to really get inventive to make it happen, though, didn't he? And still Ricciardo wasn't going to give up on it. And still, I think Hamilton is behind Bottas, isn't he? Yes, he is.
He is. Is he close enough, I wonder, into the hairpin this time around? I'll keep an eye on that as we watch Ricciardo. Now, for him, sadly, behind Fernando Alonso.
Let's see how long Alonso's tyres last. He's only got to do 4.5 more laps, but Lewis got the grip to do this.
Well, has Bottas got the grip to keep on defending as it stands at the moment? Yeah, Bottas is just edging ahead.
So you can push a bit harder, tyres are looking okay. Little risk from behind, so let's try and protect against Hamilton.
Valtteri Bottas, one of 4 men to have had 2 podiums or more in Formula 1 this season so far, with 4 laps remaining. He's on for a 3rd podium in a row here this afternoon, and at the moment it's another 2nd place for him. In terms of fuel use, it's looks like Lewis Hamilton's got a little bit in reserve, but not much between them.
Remember, they said to him, you've got to do 13 laps on each of these sets of tyres. He's 13 laps into this stint now, and they thought that was going to be a little bit difficult. The track's rubbered in a bit, the fuel load's gone down, He's got DRS, but at the moment, he's not quite got it. He's got to be so neat and tidy through turn 2 so he can get a good exit. But it's Bottas who's got the better traction there.
He's got the soft compound tyre, which lasts longer, obviously, than the super soft tyre. He's got the advantage, and he's got a much bigger advantage as they head through the next DRS zone than Lewis Hamilton here. Back markers could now play quite a key role here.
Might be his best chance at the back markers, but Mercedes give Williams, I think, the best package they can. They need Williams in there helping them defend against Red Bull and the others, and suddenly
there could be some drop of range in 1 minute or so. It should be very light.
So hopefully not going to affect things too much. Jenson Button's bid for a two-stop strategy gone a little bit bust. He had to pit a couple of laps ago. He's down in 8th place at the moment. 3 laps remaining, 3 stops for Jenson Button. 3 stops for Lewis Hamilton as well, who started 20th, of course, in this race. A podium finish is a terrific achievement, but he won't want to lose 10 points to his teammate Nico Rosberg in this particular race. It will be a 14-point gap going into the Hungarian Grand Prix. He'll be desperate for this 2nd place. Now, has he just backed off in the last couple of laps? Is he a little bit closer this time around, I wonder, on the run down towards turn 2? There's the back marker, the Caterham, just ahead of these two, of Kamui Kobayashi, which means that Bottas will get a DRS advantage himself to try and get past and lap that Caterham. As we watch Kimi Räikkönen now, Räikkönen in 11th place.
Hamilton hasn't got the traction out of turn 2 to get the overtake done into 6, so he might just need some traffic or something like that, because I don't think he's got the rear grip out of 3 rather, sorry, yeah, 2 into 3.
You could be right. Niki Lauda and Lucas Podolski. Watch on. Podolski wanted a German champion of the German Grand Prix. He's getting his wish at the moment. We can head to Ted.
Jenson Button had to make a stop after his pass by Hulkenberg, but he didn't lose a place. He's still 8th ahead of Magnussen's teammate.
Thank you, Ted. 2 laps remaining.
It's too fast in the straight. Yeah, Bob Lewis, don't forget he had DRS that straight.
Which he won't have next time around. The back markers are out of the way.
Lewis is changing because he's lost a bit of front wing. He's really tucking the car into the curbs on the inside, trying to help the front grip up a little bit.
Battles from start to finish in this particular race. We're down to the last 2 laps. Now
it's here where he's losing out.
Yeah.
That's where Bottas is so unflustered, neat, tidy, calm, gets a good launch out, and then Lewis can't do anything about it.
People who say about Valtteri Bottas, he is a future world champion in the making. And maybe it's too early to make that decision or make that judgment now or not, but he's certainly a very calm, very calculating young driver who shows a lot of bravery as well, going around the outside of drivers at Stowe, for instance, a couple of weeks ago, and seems to have the measure of this battle as it stands at the moment with a lap and a half to go. Paddy Lowe, Executive Director Technical for Mercedes, who are looking at a 1-3 this afternoon. Thought a 1-2 was possible, but damage to Lewis Hamilton's front wing has made that very difficult indeed, as it is to go from 20th on the grid after his brake failure in qualifying to finish 3rd. Still a very good achievement, but he will lose more ground to his teammate in the championship battle.
With Sitchel's car spun in the last corner, remember, Mercedes pulled Lewis in pretty earlier than they ideally would have wanted to, and it might just have made the difference.
You see, he's also losing out of that final turn as well, so he's not quite close enough going through this section of track, Martin, to have a go into turn 2, whereas you rightly say Lewis Hamilton is losing grip out of turn 2, so he can't then get up alongside the Williams into that hairpin. It seems that it's going to be 2 and 3, Williams and then Mercedes, by the time we get to the checkered flag, and this maybe is Lewis Hamilton's last chance now, but he looks far too far behind in a car that has got enough power to defend quite easily against a car that has got enough power to attack quite easily, and it's stalemate as Lewis Hamilton locks up into the hairpin, breaks that little bit later, but he can't get the place.
There's nowhere to get it now.
And while he does that, Nico Rosberg will start to see a few flags waving for him, because the man who has never finished on the podium in his home race is going to wipe that record clean this afternoon here at Hockenheim. Nico Rosberg, 1 more corner to go, will get the acclaim of the the crowd and the checkered flag to win the German Grand Prix. A dominant performance from start to finish. It has been Rosberg's day, Rosberg's weekend here in Hockenheim. And for Williams, start the celebrations too. A 300th podium in Formula One, and this one belongs to Valtteri Bottas. Second place for him. Lewis Hamilton from 20th to 3rd. A storming drive, but he loses out. More points to his teammate Nico Rosberg in the championship battle. He comes home to grab 3rd place, but who will get 4th and 5th? At the moment, Sebastian Vettel will get 4th, Fernando Alonso 5th, Daniel Ricciardo trying so hard to catch up on Fernando Alonso through the stadium sector. Vettel finishes 4th, Alonso comes home now to take 5th place by the closest of margins. Alonso beats Ricciardo, and they couldn't even be separated by a 1/10 of a second. It was that close.
0.0 it's showing, Alonso to Ricciardo. And just to show us what an easy afternoon it's been for this young man.
Great drive, Nico, great drive, well done. Remember, pick up rubber, go strapped 12, really good job, well controlled.
Yes, thank you! Thanks a lot, guys.
He did his fastest lap on the final tour of this Grand Prix.
Way to go. It's what Sebastian Vettel used to do when he had the car, of course, to do it. For the 2nd year running, a German driver wins his home race for the first time. Vettel in 2013 replaced that with Rosberg in 2014. After Ricciardo, by the way, Nico Hülkenberg kept up his record along with Alonso of scoring points in every race this season. He took 7th ahead of Jenson Button and Kevin Magnussen, finishing 8th and 9th, and Sergio Perez in 10th.
Amazing, that was fantastic. Beat a Mercedes, fair and square, unreal. Great drive, Valtteri, P2.
Was a great drive. It's interesting to see that they're 20, I know Rosberg was coasting, but Hamilton got the gap back to 22.5 seconds despite starting 20th, but I don't think we saw anything like the full potential of Rosberg.
No. He had that race under control, didn't concede the lead, did he, at any stage during the course of that race. And it's another win for Nico Rosberg to add to his victories this season in Australia in the opening race, in Monaco, of course, and Austria as well. And now here in Germany, he wins his home race for the first time. And improves on his best ever result at Hockenheim, which was 8th coming into this race. It's for you, he says. It's for all of us. The championship leader extends his lead as well.
So in the end, that contact with Jensen did cost Lewis 2nd place.
You would think so, yes. It certainly forced a change of strategy towards the end of the race. It cost Lewis Hamilton not so much just the pace, but the opportunity to look after his tyres a little more easily, and fighting an awful lot of tyre wear at the end as he looks on whilst his teammate celebrates.
300th podium, of course, for Williams.
Didn't you look? It wasn't so much what was being said between Bottas and his engineer on that radio message, but did you hear all the screams and shouts in the background? A team that were mightily pleased with the way their season's going, and I would imagine now go ahead of Ferrari. Yes, do go ahead of Ferrari in the Constructors' Championship with that result today.
Turning into a bona fide megastar, young Bottas, isn't he?
He's not doing anything wrong, is he? Valtteri Bottas, who finished 2nd at Silverstone, finished 3rd in Austria, and has a hat-trick of podiums now in Formula One.
While you were looking at your charts, Crofty, you did miss him crashing into the camera with the skid lift, or vice versa, actually.
He's not quite got his coordination sorted with his feet planted on the ground, but they are firmly planted on the ground, and he's picking up 18 points this afternoon, Rosberg, with the win for Mercedes. Hamilton from the back of the grid up into third, and then Sebastian Vettel, who was saving fuel all the way in the closing stages, but holding off Fernando Alonso. Great tussle between Alonso and Ricciardo for 5th and 6th, and as I mentioned, Hülkenberg, Button, Magnussen, Perez picking up the minor points. For Maldonado, sadly, lapped and still no points for this season, behind Kimi Raikkonen, who finishes out of the points again. And then it was quite a tale, wasn't it, at the rest of the runners and riders. Felipe Massa didn't even last one corner.